And with that, I think we'll go ahead and get started. It's great to see everyone's smiling face today. Hopefully everyone had a great holiday and a wonderful new year. Happy 2022. We start every one of our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to share my screen and share the American flag here. Give me a thumbs up if you see the American flag, hopefully. Perfect. So if everyone could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. We will start with introductions. So if you're a visiting Rotarian, if you're a Rotarian who has a guest, or if you're a guest yourself, if you could please click raise hand, and we'll call on you to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us. I know some of our guests we're going to introduce as part of the program here in a few minutes, but any guests or visiting Rotarians today? Okay. Seeing none, any announcements today? Any announcements, same thing, please click raise hand. I want to remind everyone, we were hoping to be back in person at the Highlander in January, but unfortunately with the COVID numbers continuing to increase, the Rotary Board has decided we want to keep our members and our community and everyone's family safe. So throughout the month of January, we are going to be on Zoom, and then our Rotary Board will meet in a few weeks to kind of reevaluate how the numbers look. So we will be 100% on Zoom for the month of January. And since we don't have any other announcements, Linda, do you want to mention what you mentioned to me just a few minutes ago about some of our World Affairs and RILA numbers?
Well, we have 32 students between West, City, and Liberty that have agreed that have signed up for or are in the process of signing up for World Affairs. So that is a huge number. And I know all of you have heard this many times, but in 2009 when we started this, we had one that went from each club, and now we have 32, and there will be 2 more going for Regina. So I want to thank, we just keep getting money in from all you wonderful people. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because without the donors and the club's backing, we couldn't do it. And all the work that our committee does. So thank you to all.
And Linda, head and shoulders, we send more than any other club, don't we, in the district by far? It's not even close.
We send, at this point, we send for in-person, we send 1/3 of the students to World Affairs.
Wow. And
most people send maybe 1 or 2. So we get a lot of attention, and we've had 2 years of carryover, and it's been interesting to work through the numbers, but we all agreed on numbers yesterday. So I'm celebrating big time. So.
Great. Well, yeah, thanks, Linda, for the work that you and your committee do.
I miss Barb Thomas as my accountant person. Is Barb there? Oh yeah, hi Barb.
Yes. Great. And speaking of Linda, we have a new member induction, which is always a fun part of the meeting. And our new member is Pam Funke. Pam actually used to be my next door neighbor in Coralville, so we got to know the Funkes really well, a great family. And Linda, do you want to tell us a little bit about Pam and maybe how you know her?
Well, I will. I'm going, everybody, if you haven't heard yet, she's my daughter. So I'm very, very proud to say, welcome to Pam. And I would like to talk a little about what she does. She's the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations for the College of Law. She plays a key role in increasing and strengthening alumni and relation engagements for the College of Law's 10,500 alumni. She leads events and communications to the alumni and coordinates alum law schools mentoring. She lives in North Liberty. She's married to Mike Funke, if any of you know Mike Funke. And I will say she has 2 of the most incredible children in the world. I have all rights to say that. Sam is a sophomore at Mount Mercy, and Jack is a senior at Liberty High School. And if I haven't told you this now, and you'll hear it again, they're the most amazing people in the world. But I do welcome Pam, and look forward to, and just for everybody, I've already assigned her to the Youth Leadership Committee and to North Liberty. So I've already claimed her. I've claimed her. Thank you, President Eric.
Great, yep. So Pam, we're excited to have you join us. You've been approved for membership in this Rotary Club because we believe you to be a worthy representative of your vocation, interested in the ideals of Rotary, and willing to do your share in translating those ideals into action. Rotary is non-political, non-discriminatory, and non-denominational. Our impact starts with our members, people who work tirelessly with their clubs to solve some of the most difficult challenges in our communities. Our efforts are supported by Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation turns our donations into grants that fund the work of our members and partners around the globe. Pam, when you become a member of the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club, you will join over 1.2 million Rotarians around the world. Rotary uses the term JET, J-E-T, to describe what we do so well. We join leaders, we exchange ideas, and we take action. Your challenge as a new Rotarian is to get involved, and as it sounds like Linda already has you involved, so that's wonderful. I encourage you to join at least one committee and bring guests and introduce them to Rotary. So I now invite my fellow Rotarians and friends to provide a warm round of applause for our newest member of Iowa City Noon Rotary, Pam Funke. Congratulations, Pam. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Just thank you very much. I'm very excited to be part of this. As my mom, Linda, said, I do have two boys that are growing up and going out. And so it's kind of a fun time to reinvent myself. I helped at the Ronald McDonald event last year. And it's just exciting to have the opportunity to get involved and give back. So very excited to be part of the group.
Great. And make sure when we're back in person, or if you see Pam out in the community, make sure to say hi to her. She'll be a great addition to our club, and we're excited. And Linda, thank you for sponsoring Pam and for bringing Pam to our club as well. So we have a wonderful program today. If you remember, about 2 years ago with our Rotary district, they offer community grant opportunities every year, and you can apply for up to $5,000 for a worthy project in your community. And we applied for the Rotary-Kerber HeartSafe project, and we were successful. We got the full $5,000 from the Rotary district. Our club matched that dollar for dollar, so it was a $10,000 investment to really start this program. And we have 3 of the leaders of this Kerber Safe program here with us today to give us an update on some of the great work they've been doing for the past year. And we have Dr. Diane Atkins. She is one of our fellow Rotarians. Diane is the Emerita Professor of Pediatric Cardiology, and she's the Medical Director of the Kerber HeartSafe campaign. We have Fiona Johnson. Fiona is the Director of the Johnson County Ambulance Service, and she's a member of the Kerber HeartSafe campaign committee. And we have Dr. Jim Merchant, who is one of our fellow Rotarians. Dr. Merchant is the Dean Emeritus of the University of Iowa College of Public Health, and he chairs the Rotary-Kerber HeartSafe community campaign. So if you could please help me welcome Dr. Atkins, Fiona, and Dr. Merchant. And I think Dr. Merchant will start with you and let you take the presentation away.
And Eric, this is Diane. I need to share my screen. Can I
Sure,
go ahead and do that?
Yep, you can do that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, perfect.
And tell me, what are you seeing?
Your first slide.
Okay, are you seeing it as a?
Yeah, if you want to click from beginning, I think on the upper left to see the first slide.
Yeah, it's not giving. For some reason, there we go. Okay, now which
yep.
Are you seeing, the presentation or the other, or the main one?
We're seeing the main one, and then the upper right, we've got the next slide.
All right, let me switch that. How about that?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so I'll let Jim start. Jim, you might be muted.
I'm clicking down real quick to see if Jim is with us today. Hopefully he is.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Diane, in addition to running the slides, happens to chair the Emergency Cardiovascular Care Committee of the American Heart Association. And this is a committee that Dick Kerber previously chaired and possibly was the founding member of, but was heavily involved in it. And Dick also trained Diane, who is now an emerita professor of pediatric cardiology, and she serves as our medical director of our campaign. Fiona Johnson is director of the Johnson County Ambulance Service, and Fiona has been a fantastic partner with the campaign, and because she was so involved, she became a member of our committee. And you'll hear from Fiona in this presentation. I'd also like to say a couple of words about the other members of our committee. Linda Kerber, in addition to being the other half of the Kerber family, is an emerita professor of history. And together with Diane, she began the Richard E. Kerber Memorial CPR Initiative, now campaign, at the University of Iowa. And this was really to bring AEDs and CPR training badly needed to the University of Iowa. And they've had considerable success. Now over 100 AEDs have been purchased and placed in buildings that didn't have AEDs in them. There's quite a bit more work to do, but we really owe Linda and Diane a lot of thanks, because it's on the shoulders of their campaign that this campaign has been built, and they continue, of course, to work with the university, and we are integrating what we're doing with some of the things the university is doing. Mark Priest, as I think you Rotarians know, is a retired or partly retired Lutheran pastor, and he heads up our nonprofit program. Marilyn Lewis, who is a retired attorney and Rotarian, heads up our community outreach program. Bill Bywater, I think our most senior member of our club, continues to serve as heading up our sponsor program, and of course does much besides fundraising for us, with a lot of work done through and by True Art. Kathy Jensen is not a Rotarian, but is a retired Iowa City teacher, and she is a member of our committee. She is actually a sudden cardiac arrest survivor, really saved by her son, Christopher. And I encourage all of you to go to our website, IowaHeartSafe.org, to listen to a testimonial from Kathy and Christopher about saving her life. And she is a very important new addition to our campaign. Marina Del Rios is a physician, emergency medicine physician. Recently came with her husband, who's a faculty member in the College of Law, to join our committee. She has had a great deal of experience with community campaigns, CPR training campaigns. She has run literally hundreds of CPR training sessions in Chicago, and we are going to be looking to her for leadership once we are able to return to training. So those are the other members of our committee. I think we can go to the next slide, Diane.
Let's see.
There we go. So when we wrote the grant that Eric mentioned, we had 4 community partners were identified and gave us letters of support. City of Iowa City, the city manager, Jeff Ruin, City of Coralville, City Administrator Kelly Hayworth. I already mentioned Fiona Johnson County Ambulance Service, which has been with us from the very beginning. And then Shelley Meharry, the president and CEO of the Community Foundation of Johnson County, also a fellow Rotarian. And the Johnson County Foundation has been our fiscal agent, and all donations and all purchases we make through the campaign have been handled very capably by the Community Foundation. And Shelley's partnership is very much appreciated. Also, all of our generous donors and many members of our club have stepped up to make gifts, which we appreciate. All of these are recognized in the first year of the campaign in our annual report. All donations were recognized by category. We will be doing the same in the second year of the campaign, and our second annual report will mention those. So appreciate particularly you Rotarians who have given, and this campaign is going to need at least another 3 years to achieve what we hope we can achieve. So we will be coming back to you, and hopefully your support will continue. Okay, next slide. Dick Kerber, why Kerber? Well, Dick Kerber's been mentioned. Dick, I called him the cardiologist. He happened to be my cardiologist, my physician and friend, a great supporter of College of Public Health, and a real pioneer in the American Heart Association in developing CPR guidelines, also working and consulting with AED manufacturers to develop AEDs and to develop the guidelines for not only CPR, but AEDs, use of AEDs. And hence, Dick Kerber, who is really the inspiration for this campaign. And we owe a lot to Dick and to Linda as well, who, as I mentioned, is a member of our committee. Okay, next slide.
Well, there we go.
Okay, you've heard this before, but each year 350,000 lives are lost in the United States due to sudden cardiac arrest. Importantly, research has shown that 60% can be saved through aggressive community campaigns that promote citizen bystander use of cardiopulmonary resuscitation and a dense network of automated external defibrillators, or AEDs. There was just a sudden cardiac arrest at the Iowa basketball game last Monday evening, and Fiona, she reports that the patient was not only saved, but is doing well, still in hospital. But this is really what this campaign is about. This is remarkably common. I think people don't think it's that common, but it really is. You'll see a map that Fiona will show a little later that shows sudden cardiac arrest in Iowa City and Coralville. And I think you'll, as I was, perhaps be surprised by the number of red dots on that figure. So this is not only common, but it is lives can be saved. And Seattle, particularly King County, has shown that 60% can do it. And we are doing our best to try to achieve that number. And you'll be hearing about current progress from Fiona on that. Next slide. So the campaign goals, our original goals were number one, to raise community awareness about the epidemic of sudden cardiac arrest, which we do through our website and through social media that we use Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And we get quite a bit of traffic. We also have our website, iowaheartsafe.com. We started, our original goal was to provide free CPR AD Heimlich maneuver training to nonprofits and service clubs. We actually did use the original money to buy the training equipment. And we did have a group of about 14 Rotarians who stepped up, who got trained. We had one training session for the New Hope Episcopal Church, and then the campaign necessarily stopped doing hands-on training because of the pandemic. That was March of 2020, and we are still unable to do that, as I think you all understand. But we hope to get back to training here later this spring, or whenever the pandemic allows us to get back safely. So that will be coming. It's very important in terms of getting our the next item moving as well as we would like, and that is to provide AEDs through cost sharing to nonprofits. It cost us $1,000 for an AED kit, which includes the AED, a steel case for it, the signage, and also a rescue kit as a part of that package for nonprofits that donate $500 to our account in the Community Foundation. We provide them one of these AED kits, and Mark Priest has been very successful and very active in doing that. But many of the nonprofits have not been meeting in person or really do want to have the training that comes with it. So we know that once we're able to meet in person, that part of our campaign will take off. We also, this last year, and the goal was to provide combination lock heated AED enclosures for public AEDs. And we were able to purchase 16 of these at a cost of $850 a piece. You'll be seeing images of those, and Diane and Fiona will be talking about their importance and how effective they are in community campaign like the one we have begun. Also, we sought and now have achieved bringing PulsePoint into Johnson County, and this is an electronic messaging system, and it has been remarkably successful in communities that have brought PulsePoint in. This is really, and Diane will talk about the research behind it. Fiona will talk about its implementation, and I think this is in the soft rollout phase, but we'll go live here in early February. And then provide citizen education. I mentioned our website. I encourage you to visit the website. There's a lot of information on it, and it continues to build. We have a wonderful webmaster in Laura Marsh that some of you may know Laura, but she does a fantastic job for us. Okay, next slide. And this is really Diane. Okay, Diane.
Okay, thanks. So this is what we're talking about. What's really happening in a cardiac arrest. And what you see in the left panel is an electrocardiogram of someone who is suffering a cardiac arrest. And I'm going to try and use my pointer here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but these three beats, these three vertical lines here are normal heartbeats. And then suddenly something is happening right here, and it rapidly accelerates to, this is a rate of 300 a minute. It doesn't look at all normal. And then suddenly the electrical signal doesn't look, it's a little bit more disorganized until here it's completely disorganized. And down on this tracing, you can see that this is what in medical parlance we call a flat line. There's no electrical activity of the heart whatsoever. And if there's no electrical activity of the heart, there's no pumping of the heart. So at this point, there is no blood circulating whatsoever. There might have been a little bit up here, but certainly down by this point, there really was no circulation of blood. And I would imagine that somewhere right around in here, within the first 10 seconds of this event, the person, if he or she had been awake, had collapsed and was on the floor and was unresponsive. But the other thing to look at is the time frame of this. This goes from 6 a.m., 6:02 a.m., down to 6:11 a.m. So here in this 9 to 10 minute span, this person has gone from up here being conscious to down here being dead. And what we know that's over here on the right panel is a stylized graph, but lots of data have gone into supporting this, that for every minute that goes by without any resuscitation efforts, so without any CPR whatsoever, survival declines by 10%, such that just as the EKG recording shows, by 9 to 10 minutes, the chances of survival, and especially survival with any meaningful brain function whatsoever, is virtually zero. And so we don't have a lot of time when someone collapses. And that's why it is so important that our community be trained in CPR, and that we also have access to these automated external defibrillators. Because if a shock is given within especially these few minutes, but even in these first 5 minutes, then the chances of a meaningful survival dramatically increase. And what we know is that if people get bystander CPR, so before the first responders arrive and before Johnson County arrives, Johnson County Ambulance Service, survival will go up by 3-fold. So the national survival rate right now is 10%. If everyone would get bystander CPR, that survival rate could go up to 30%. And then if they also get external defibrillation before EMS arrives, survival can also go up to even closer to 50 to 60%. And so that really is the motivation behind this entire campaign. Several, and many of you may have seen this before, but I want to emphasize it. Many years ago, the Heart Association, American Heart Association, developed this concept of a chain of survival, which outlines the necessary steps to have a good outcome from cardiac arrest. And the first is the recognition and activation of the emergency response system. So that's calling 911. The second is immediate and what we call high quality CPR. So just as an aside, you pump hard, you pump fast, you try and do it at a rate of 100 to 120 a minute, which is the beat of the song Staying Alive. And then the third link is rapid defibrillation. And so it isn't even until we get to the fourth link of this chain that we start to talk about our emergency medical systems. And then the fourth link, of course, is advanced life support and post-arrest care. And the things that I like to emphasize in this slide are that the first 3 links of this chain can be, should be, and need to be accomplished by lay rescuers. So people like members of this Rotary Club, people who have had no formal medical training whatsoever, they are vitally important in our full chain to try and get excellent responses or excellent outcomes from cardiac arrest. And I will tell you, in my career as a pediatric cardiologist at the university, I specialized in heart rhythm disorders. And as a consequence, I took care of a lot of patients, mostly children and adolescents, but not all, who either had had a cardiac arrest or were at high risk for a cardiac arrest. I will tell you that virtually every patient I have cared for who has suffered a cardiac arrest who had a good outcome has said, the chain of survival was intact for me. If any link in this chain is broken, then the chances of meaningful survival go way down. So if you're not recognized, or you don't get CPR, if there's a defibrillator around and you don't get rapidly defibrillated, your chances of survival are going way down. We are incredibly fortunate to live in a community with excellent emergency medical services and an excellent hospital system that can provide advanced life support and post-arrest care. But they can't do it if we don't do our job. One of the things is that people tend not to know when a cardiac arrest is around. Now, when you're at Carver Hawkeye or Kinnick, and I will also mention that there were 2 cardiac arrests this fall at Kinnick, both with excellent outcomes. But people have to know that there's a cardiac arrest around, and they may or may not be right there in the area. And so this telephone app has been developed. It's called Pulse Point. And I will give phenomenal credit to the Johnson County Board of Supervisors. Fiona Johnson and I made one presentation to that group, and the vote was that they would pay the money to maintain Pulse Point in Johnson County. The Rotary-Kerber HeartSafe campaign paid the initiation fees, and then Johnson County agreed to, excuse me, just a minute, and that Johnson County agreed to assume the $10,000 cost for annual maintenance of this. Sudden cardiac arrest is not just a job for emergency responders, but rather a community-based issue that requires a community-based response. In no other medical situation is there such a vital reliance on the community. And this is from the International Association of Fire Chiefs in publicizing their support of Pulse Point. And what is Pulse Point? It's a 911 text message alert app. And I will tell you that you can download this on your phone. As soon as this meeting is over, you just go to Pulse Point. I think it's Pulse Point CBR, but if you search for on either an iPhone or an Android phone for Pulse Point, it will come up. You can download it. It has a 4.8 rating by thousands of reviewers, and it is available in 4 languages. So how does it work? This empowers citizens, you and me, anybody else who has this on their app, to provide life-saving assistance. So when you go onto the app, you are asked to indicate that you are trained in CPR and willing to respond. If you're not willing to respond, then please don't download it, but I hope that you are willing to respond. And then if a cardiac arrest is in a public location and the 911 dispatcher recognizes it, and our 911 dispatchers are very good at this, the app then is activated by the 911 dispatcher simultaneously with the ambulance, and it directs the user in the area of the need simultaneous, as I said, with EMS dispatch. And it directs the users also to the exact location and of the event and the closest AED. Now, through the wonders of GPS technology, which I don't begin to understand, only those people who are within no more than a quarter of a mile of this particular event will be activated. So it's not as if you're activated for every cardiac arrest occurs. You have to be in the proximate area, and it will tell you how to get there. And it will also tell you the exact location of the event and the closest AED. And within this system, there is a map of the AEDs, and we have worked very closely with Johnson County Ambulance and the Pulse Point programmers to map all of the in existence. And what happens with this? This is a screenshot from the Pulse Point webpage. They maintain this on an active basis. And so when this was done, I'm not exactly certain the exact time or the date, But what they can tell us is that the community response time is 2 minutes and 28 seconds. So that is amazingly fast. If you go back to that 10-minute slide I showed you, 2 minutes and 28 seconds means that we have a chance for 80% survival at that point. Within the previous 24 hours of getting this screenshot, Pulse Point had been activated 113 times. There were 425 responders. And overall, they now have 150,000 activations to date with 500,000 nearby responders. And in total right now, there are 3 million active app users. And I am hopeful that we can take that up to at least 3,020,000, and hopefully 872. I'd love to get 500 people in our county who use this app. And if we can get even several thousand, that would be fantastic. And what happens? Okay. What we now know from Pulse Point is that the amount of time that these citizen responders arrive at the scene is a full 3.5 minutes before any EMS arrives. And that's fire and EMS personnel. So that's fire. Those are usually what we call first responders. And so in Johnson County, both fire and police, depending on the jurisdiction, are the first responders. They will uniformly get there before Johnson County Ambulance, which has the advanced providers. But regardless, these citizen responders are arriving 3.5 minutes before any EMS can arrive. And what, again, what we know, just again, is that the average survival in the United States is 10% with bystander CPR. It can go up to 30. With bystander CPR and AED, it can go up to 50% survival with meaningful brain function. And that's the important part. It's not as if we are trying to save people who then have substantial brain disability. But one of the problems, even though we have hundreds of AEDs in our community, is that they are in locations which are not accessible 24/7. They are in buildings that are locked, especially at night, or sometimes they can be difficult to find. And so probably the newest thing in bystander response is the use of these external boxes. And these are boxes which are heated, very important, especially on a day like today, and are secured so that they are not at risk for loss of the equipment related to vandalism. And they can be mounted, as is seen here, on the outside of a pole, or they can be mounted on the outside of a building, and they are available 24/7. And again, as the dispatcher recognizes that this is a cardiac arrest, he or she can then give the code to the person on the telephone, tell them where this box is and what the code is to open the box. And on the inside is an AED and other equipment that they might need in the resuscitation of this person. And one of the things as a cardiac arrest researcher is, well, the first question is, do these really work? Can you put enough around that it really makes a difference? And this is data that was presented just last November at the American Heart Association, and it's data from the Netherlands. And it was collected by a good friend of mine and a good friend and colleague of Dick Kerber. So this is Rudolf Koster. And over the last 5 years, they have put in 785 of these external or exterior defibrillators around Northern Holland. And then they looked at the results over this 5-year period. And what they have shown is actually pretty amazing. Bystander CPR rates increased they more than doubled. Their survival, again, increased by about 50%, and survival with good neurologic function also increased by about 50%. The number of shocks that had to be delivered by EMS actually declined by about 40%, so almost half, which meant that these patients had been shocked by the bystander and no longer needed a shock by EMS. And the time to that, the time to that first shock declined from 1 minute and 17 seconds to 0.93 minutes. So a pretty stark improvement in CPR results, showing that the combination of a bystander response, an early shock, and easily available AEDs really does dramatically improve cardiac arrest survival. And I'm going to pass this over to Fiona Johnson, who's the director of our Johnson County ambulance service.
Hello, everybody. I'm super excited to see in the chat that quite a few people are already downloading the application. That is super exciting, and that's getting us on our way. Please do note that you will not see Iowa City or Johnson County as an option at this time, because we are still in the soft launch phase, which means right now our first responder agencies are in the sandbox phase. So we're really kind of working through the application, making sure that all the information is getting out into the actual application appropriately. So when we do our big public launch, that's when you'll be able to go in and you can either pick all of the communities in Johnson County, or if, let's say, you live in Lone Tree and you really only want to follow Lone Tree, you can select that as your option. So really be nice, because it's an application that can be tailored to what you want to see specifically for yourself. So in addition to that, I've been with Johnson County for the past 23 years. And so it's been really, fabulous to see how EMS has evolved over that time. One of the things that we've really seen some big changes in the last few years is how we manage our cardiac arrest care. Some of the things that we've been doing in Johnson County to help improve our survival to discharge statistics for people suffering from sudden cardiac arrest are implementing pit crew style CPR. If somebody has a cardiac arrest event, a lot of times you'll see, obviously our first responders arrive, but in the past it would be just a couple, whereas right now in Iowa City, they will have 2 engine crews respond to that address. So then we've got an appropriate amount of people to do that rotation of CPR. We've got enough hands on deck to really be able to provide the best care possible, and then be able to get people out of the resident in a expedited fashion. We've also added the Lucas device to all of the ambulances and gotten this out into the first responder agencies as well. That stands for the Lund University Cardiac Assist System. That is basically a CPR device. It delivers perfect compressions at the perfect rate and the perfect depth. So real, true life-saving device right there. And then the last thing that we've done is we've joined a CARES registry, and that is a cardiac arrest registry to enhance survival. This is a national database where we can enter all of our cardiac arrest data for Johnson County, and then be able to see our metrics compared to other agencies, other EMS agencies, other hospitals across the nation, and see how we are doing in Johnson County. So really improves the quality of the care that we deliver, because we can actually fine tune our agency to see where we have room for improvement. Next slide, Diane, please. So this is the map that was mentioned earlier. We were able to plot all of our cardiac arrests in the last year and a half onto this geocom map, and able to see where there are high concentrations of cardiac arrests. And then we're going to be able to use this information to determine where these AEDs that we can put out in the public setting can have the biggest impact. So this is that CARES registry and how we're using that data in real time. Next slide. This is data that we've also pulled from that registry, and this shows you how we're doing in Johnson County in comparison to the nation. I'm very proud to say that in Johnson County, our overall survival rate from sudden cardiac arrest is 17.9%. And while I know, yes, that sounds like a low number and we have tons of room for improvement, when you compare that to the nation, that is sitting at 7.1%, I feel very proud at the efforts that we have done and where we're currently sitting. I'm excited to have PulsePoint take us to that next level and have these public access AEDs really assist as well. Another thing that's interesting for Johnson County, we have 32% of our cardiac arrests are bystander witnessed. And that is wonderfully important because if every single one of those incidents where it is a witnessed event, the person is delivering CPR and then accessing an AED, that's where we're going to see the big increase in our overall survival. We have 7.1% of our cardiac arrests are unwitnessed. Those are a challenging group because obviously if it's unwitnessed, there's nobody there to kind of start that chain of survival going. So we obviously have to do what we can. And really, I think that we'll see the biggest increase in our survival rates with those bystander witnessed arrests. Another good thing to point out is that in Johnson County, 63.8% of our sudden cardiac arrests do receive bystander CPR. So that is a beautiful statistic. We can even get that up even more with our public education of CPR use. And then 23.7% of our cardiac arrests have an AED used by a bystander. So also great, and I feel like we'll see an increase in that number when we get more AEDs onto our registry so people know where AEDs are in the public during the day, and then increase our actual 24/7 AED accessibility. Next slide. This is the very first box that was installed in Johnson County. This is in Coralville. The first box is installed at First Ave and East 9th Street. So that one is currently in place. The second one has been installed in Coralville at First Ave and Highway 6. And then the third one will be at 965 and Commerce Drive. North Liberty had their 2 delivered today. Iowa City will have their 5 delivered later today. And then we'll be meeting by Zoom with all of the smaller communities to give each small community 1 AED and enclosure, and hopefully have that meeting in the next couple of days to get that rolled out. So very exciting to be able to have this coming to fruition and actually installed in Johnson County. This has been just a true blessing to be able to work with the Kerber HeartSafe community campaign to get this rolled out, and very excited. So I believe that that's the end of my slides. Next slide, I think, is Jim. Yep, there we go.
So I know our time is short, but briefly, I think we did achieve our goals. We did provide the $10,000 to start up PulsePoint. I thank Ken Kinsey and the Kinsey Foundation, Division of Adult Cardiology at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics for their donations that allowed this $10,000 startup fee. We also provided $13,600 to purchase and secure heated external cabinets, the photos of which you have just seen. Next slide. Okay, next step is HeartSafe communities, and we believe that all of the communities, major communities in Johnson County, can become certified as HeartSafe communities by the HeartSafe Community Foundation, by the HeartSafe Foundation. Next slide. So the criteria, very quickly: a lead organization we have with Johnson County Ambulance Service. Plan, collect, analyze data. You've seen that. 15% of the community trained in CPR in the last 12 months. We think we can actually show that all high school kids get trained in CPR, and with our campaign, we hope to do a lot more formal recognitions of laypersons. That is being done. Develop, implement strategy of increased public awareness. We're doing that. Telephone CPR program, we have that. School and public building, having effective emergency response plans. That's something to work on. Permanent placement of AEDs in public and private locations. We are doing that. AED registry, we have that. First responder agencies are AED capable. We've achieved that. And EMS provider, high performance and quality improvement programs, and then secondary public education members. We can help with that. There is a process for getting this. We hope the university also will become a HeartSafe campus. Next slide. Finally, our campaign goals. We hope to return to CPR training this spring. We're hoping to purchase and distribute 20 AED kits for indoor installation and 20 more of the yellow box enclosures for outside installation. Implement our small and large employer AED cost sharing programs, which we have really not been able to do. Distribute AED inside door stickers for all AEDs in Johnson County. That includes the University of Iowa. Sponsor an AED treasure hunt. You'll be hearing about that in the month of February. Promote and enroll 500 CPR trained bystanders to acquire a PulsePoint app. We think we can do a lot to promote this. And as Diane said, they're badly needed. And then promote co-sponsorship of our campaign by other Rotary clubs in Iowa City and Coralville. And we think we need their help. We ask for their financial support, and we will ask for their participation. And finally, raise $50,000 to support all campaign goals. And we will be, of course, appreciating all of the donations we get from the club, from the community. And we also think District 6000 can step up and perhaps participate as well. We know that our district governor conference, which will be in Coralville later this spring, that our project will be featured, and we hope that will encourage the district to support us. And then the final slide. As we always finish, you can save a life. And please take a look at our website if you want more information about this campaign. So thanks for your attention. I don't know, Eric, if we have any time, perhaps
time
not.
for, well, we'll do time for one quick question. If anyone has a question, click raise hand real quick and we'll call on you. Chuck Swanson, you got it.
Thank you, Eric. Just first of all, I want to congratulate Jim and Fiona and Linda and Diane. Gosh, this is just amazing. But this is more of a comment, but kind of a question for Diane. It seems like increased stress causes more cardiac problems. And to me, the timeliness of all of this, Iowa HeartSafe, with what we've all been through in the past 2 years, is that right to say, Linda, or am I kind of out of bounds there?
No.
What's your comment on that?
Chuck, you're right on the money. Stressful situations do increase cardiac arrest. That's why sports arenas, airports, train stations in Europe are some of the places where it occurs the most frequently. We know that cardiac arrest rates have gone up during the pandemic, and unfortunately, our survival rates have gone down. Now, that's probably multifactorial, but it's sort of the perfect storm where the stress and has gone up. There may be a delay in seeking care the first time you have chest pain, and there is some reluctance on the part of rescuers to provide CPR. I can assure you that I actually have just spent the last several days looking at our CPR guidelines from the American Heart Association. Chest compressions themselves probably are not what we call aerosol generating procedures. And so that you, I think, can do chest compressions reasonably safely for your own health. We obviously are not recommending that bystanders do any ventilation at all anymore in any circumstance. So you can do chest compressions with relative safety. And if you want to, you can just grab something and put over the victim's mouth or turn their head away from you is one thing that I would recommend. But we are working pretty hard to try and turn this around. But yeah, it's gone up.
Thank you.
I just want to add, Chuck, you probably saw it, but others may not. In Tuesday's New York Times health section, Jane Brody has a very powerful article, a column on stress and heart conditions. And I'll end by the first thing that I learned from Diane, which you can all do instantly, you can start doing now, which is wherever you go in any public place, keep an eye out and look for the AED, so that if something happens and somebody else find the AED, you'll be able to find it. And sometimes that's easy and sometimes it's not. But when Diane and Dick Herber walk through any place, look in the Hy-Vees, I don't know if they have them, notice where the AED is. And for that, you don't yet have to have the training in CPR, but you'll be awake and aware.
Well, special thank you to Jim, to Fiona, to Diane, to Linda, and to the entire Rotary-Kerber HeartSafe committee. We appreciate your great work on the project. Rotary's proud to be associated with this, and your work is really saving lives in our community. So on behalf of your presentation, as we always do each week, we are going to make a donation to the Rotary Polio Plus program in your honor. That donation is matched 2-to-1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and that'll result in 70 polio vaccinations around the world in your honor. So thank you again for all that you're doing. And we conclude each of our meetings with the Rotary 4-way test. I'm going to share my screen and bring up the 4-way test here. Okay, please join me in the Rotary 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys next Thursday at the same time. Thank you.